After a long few weeks of waiting, we are finally here for round one of the brand new season here with the eFormula series. And what a better way to sit back and relax with a nice cup of tea on a Saturday afternoon than watching live Formula 3.5 racing here at the Monza circuit, the Temple of Speed, to bring us into the brand new season. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the ESPN. My name is Sam Cooper Bennett here with you in the booth here for eFormula Series, and joining me in the booth once again is the man himself, Mr. Frank Marchese. And Frank, what a better way to start off your Saturday afternoon than just watching some pure speed racing here.
I really don't think there is a better way to start off a weekend afternoon. This is so excited. We were, again, just so excited. This was our first race that we did last season with these guys. It's just so much fun to watch these guys racing, and to see, and for them to come back with us for season two it's going to be a great ride.
That it is, and we have, I believe it's 15 drivers set to take the green here tonight. It's going to be a fantastic race for you all. But for those that don't know, Monza, well, we have a bit of a treat for you here tonight. Today, I keep saying tonight, I don't know why.
Well, it's tonight for you, that would be why.
Well, no, it's just after 6:35, so it's not too late. So
still tonight.
Evening. But anyway, for those of you that don't know Monza, we have a special video for you right now as we go to Mr. Mark Bruning, who's going to bring you today's track guide. Make sure you check this one out. Going to be good.
The Autodromo Nazionale di Monza is a historic racetrack near the city of Monza, north of Milan in Italy. Built in 1922, it is the world's third purpose-built motor racing circuit after those of Brooklands and Indianapolis. Its biggest event is the Formula One Italian Grand Prix. Drivers are on full throttle for most of the lap due to its long straights and fast corners, and the track is often called the Temple of Speed. Though generally flat, it has a gentle gradient from the second Lesmos to the Variante Ascari. The length of the track is 5.793 kilometers, and it has 11 turns. Welcome to the Autodromo Nazionale di Monza.
It's now 46 Celsius.
Welcome to eFormula Series.
And welcome back to the broadcast here. Thank you to Mark Bruning for bringing us the track guide for this one. But qualifying is just underway here as we get ready to start things off here. And we already have people out on track. Alex Davidson, I believe, is going to be the first one out on track for this one here, Frank.
I believe so. And there's a line of guys queuing up behind him. I think that's actually Paul Ilbrink, who is at the head of that line. Ilbrink won the pole here for this race here last year and walked away with it. So Ilbrink certainly going to be a guy to watch here tonight.
That he is, as we're looking at just coming in through the Curva Grande and coming to the second chicane here. As this is going to be a fun race, and let's see if Ilbrink can carry on his form from last season, as he looks like he might have damaged his floor there going over that big bump there through the second chicane.
Yeah, those are very high sausage curbs through those chicanes to deter you taking as much curb as Ilbrink did. I thought when he pulled over, he might have been letting that group go by, but now it's going to be Domingo who is going to be going around the number 14 of Nathan Brumby there in that Monster Energy car, as Ilbrink is starting to fall back now.
Yeah, that he is, as we're going to go to, they said Nathan Brumby. And there he is. And it's actually Manuel Domingo that's leading this pack now.
Yep.
Good to see Domingo back. He had a couple of unfortunate races near the end there. Had a good enough race at Monza last time we were here, and unfortunately his race at Spa ended in retirement. So here we go. First time's coming in at the end of this lap as they finish their out lap. And let's see who can grab the pole here. Obviously, Ilbrink has been the master in qualifying from what we've seen so far.
And he's going to have, well, he's actually fallen quite a bit off of Danny Hoekstra, who's the car in front of him. Got it right without you telling me this time. So he's not going to get the benefit of too much draft, and Hoekstra is not going to get too much benefit of draft off of Luke Groom, who is ahead of him.
Yeah. So we're still focused on Domingo, as they've got side by side behind them. As that is Brumby, and I believe that is Lubomir Moric. Yeah,
getting around him.
Moric coming into this one on a big high after winning the preseason race last week.
Yeah, certainly does have a lot of momentum coming into this race, and so does Luke Groom, who had a very solid run at Imola last week. There's the 14 of Brumby off at Ascari.
That's going to cost him
the middle and the last bit of it.
Yep. So we look at Manuel Domingo now. He's just coming down the long straight here into the tell me.
That would be Parabolica.
That's the one. We only came here a few weeks ago, and I'm forgetting the corners already as he comes down towards the line to put the first time in here, and it will be a 1:35.716, and going to be a good time there for him.
Danny Hoekstra not that far off, putting in a 35.7. Alexander Davidson goes to the top at a 35.1, so Davidson had a great lap on that first go.
That he did, driving for Tulip Racing UK. His teammate is Dave Gild, who finished on the podium last week at Imola. And he'll be looking to build on that as well. Davidson on the top, Domingo in second, Hoekstra in third, Ilbrink only P4 after that qualifying run, so he'll be wanting to improve on that one. Let's take a look at the other drivers out in the field. Atish de Beezing making his return in this series, and the Kiwi looking to have a better season this time round.
Yeah, its race at Monza last time through didn't go as well as planned. I wasn't there for Spa, so I don't know. But and didn't show up for Imola, if I remember correctly. So this is the first time we've seen Atish in quite a while.
Yep, another driver that's looking to have a good start to the season is, and I will find him, is this man, Mark Bruning, making his full season debut for Tulip Racing. as he replaces Shabolks in the other Tulip Racing machine as he comes up to the Variante Ascari.
Yep.
Yeah, I am right. So he comes. Oh, and he spins it coming out. Yeah, and hits the wall. That's going to cost him, and he's going to have to go back in for a new front wing at least. Let's go to one of the new drivers. Omar Baha is out on track right now as he comes across the line, and he will start his qualifying run as they come down to the first chicane here.
Yep, he's got that is Dave Guild behind him, getting a little bit of that pull, and that draft is a double-edged sword, especially around here. Being too close takes a lot of air off the front wing of the car. The car doesn't want to turn in nearly as well as it does in clear air, but you get one heck of a pull down these incredibly long straightaways here at Monza, and there's 3 long straightaways and the Curva Grande, which definitely serves as a drafting point.
Yeah, a new team on the track right now is the Troll Racing team, and we're looking at John Frederick Letro. I still don't know how to say his name. John Frederick Letro, as he comes out of the Parabolica down to the line. Let's see what he can put down. A 135.029, but that is not going to count because he must have had an off track somewhere.
Yeah, that was why. And speaking of a 135.0, new pole man up at the top, the number 74 to the point.
Yeah, Manuel Hoyer making his debut for Positive Sim Racing this season, and he was. We spoke to Lubomir Moric in the interview last week. He told us, watch out for Manuel Hoyer because he is going to be fast in that car this season.
And he's certainly showing that he has the potential. And the one guy I'm very interested in seeing, again, Paul Ilbrink won this race here last year, just completely wiped the floor with everyone, won the pole. He's a second and a half off of pole time. I'm wondering that's 16. Just might not have it here this week. Now watch him go pole here with a 34.
Yeah, as he's just put a green sector in and not a purple sector, so he'll improve. Unless he gets an absolute worldie coming out of Parabolica, he will improve, but it won't be a pole time here as he crosses the line. And Ilbrink, he moves up to P5, so an improvement, but not pole.
Yeah, no, into the mid sixes, the mid 135 sixes for the driver of the 16 Radicals machine. His teammate still sitting up in third, not that far off, so only a 10th separate the 2 Radicals teammates. But Hoyer and Davidson just appear to be in a class of their own as Davidson actually goes through.
Oh, Domingo spins it coming out of the Parabolica. Sorry to cut you off there, Frank, but Domingo on a fast lap. He was looking to improve in his time. Unfortunately, gets it all wrong going through the Parabolica.
And there is a point at the Parabolica where you're turning a little too much to go full on throttle, and he didn't meet that line properly.
Yeah, so he's back up to speed again as we're looking for him right
barking there. Animal.
So let's go to another driver that's looking to put a time in. Nathan Brumby still hasn't put a time in, by the way. He's down in P15, not set a time yet in that Monster Energy number 14. I've just noticed John Ingen Nordners is out on track as well. Actually, he's just stopped at the end of the chicane just to let, I believe, that was Luke Groom just gone past.
And Brumby heading into Parabolica right now has the 98 of David Guild in front of him, who stays well clear out of the way. So hopefully this is Brumby's first timed lap in. It is not. He had an off track somewhere as well.
Yep, so with about 5 minutes left, well, 5.5 minutes left in qualifying, he really needs to put his foot down and try and get a lap time here before this is over as he comes through the first chicane there. He's got both of the Tulip Racing UK cars behind him. And let's go to Alexander Davidson because he's going to be a driver looking to try and get on the pole here in his first race with this league.
He's only about a 10.5 off, so Davidson really certainly has the speed to do it. And with his teammate behind him, his teammate Guild now about to get a draft off of him for this lap. So watch for Guild to jump up the time pylon as well.
As they come through the first of the Lesmos, second of the Lesmos now. And Davidson's going to try and use a draft here from Brumby. And he's looking to improve here. Like you said, he's only a 10th off. As it looks like Dave Guild's backed off here.
Yeah, Guild must have had a run through the Lesmos, and Davidson going to get this draft here from Nathan Brumby, who, if Nathan Brumby matches his practice time, it would be in P11 right now.
Purple sector for Davidson. This is going to really help him out as he comes through the Parabolica. How much will Brumby hold him up as he come out of the Parabolica? And Davidson going to use that draft now down towards the line. Is that going to help him? It's not. And Davidson losing a ton of time through the Parabolica. I'm thinking that's because Brumby kind of got in the way there. As Brumby finally puts the time down and puts himself into P11.
Exactly, in 11th, as I mentioned, heading into Parabolica. But yeah, that was... I think Brumby was a little too slow for Davidson going into Parabolica. You said he put in that purple lap time. He did better his best qualifying time, but only by a couple hundredths of a second there, and I'm pretty sure he lost it all on entry to Parabolica.
That it did, as we're still focused on Nathan Brumby here as he comes through the second chicane here and down towards the Lesmos. Dave Guild in the background there, he's looking to get a better lap time as he's currently sitting in P10 in qualifying right now, and it's the man that's right in front of him that's looking to take it away from him as Brumby runs wide through the second Lesmo.
And Brumby just a little bit too aggressive there. Guild doesn't really have a draft. Ilbrink on track right now, going through the second Lesmo. Only about 3 minutes left to go in this session. So times are going to be hitting hard as Ilbrink and Domingo now both improve their times, both in the 35.3s.
Yeah, and I'm expecting this is going to be a much closer season this time around, because just look at the times going in right now. We've got 7 drivers in the 135 so far. Omar Baha and Lubomir Moric. Moric actually probably going to be a bit disappointed with where he is right now. Currently sitting P7 in qualifying.
Yeah, that's Moric. Again, you'd mentioned he had such a great run at Imola last week. A more technical track. This time that he was trying to put in got negated. So he's going to have to go around at least one more time here to try to get a better lap in. But expect to see a lot of action on track. Davidson crossing the line to begin his next hot lap. Domingo ran a time almost identical to his best on that lap. So we got a lot of guys on track in the last 2 minutes.
Yeah, and this is typical. It's kind of similar to Formula One qualifying, where they all come out for the last couple of minutes just to get that final big lap in. Now, Manuel Hoyer still in pit road here. Is if he wants to improve on his time, he's going to have to come out now, because all the guys that are close behind him are already out on track turning times here.
I wouldn't be too concerned if I were Hoyer, because Davidson doesn't have anyone around him. Domingo does have somebody in front of him, but Domingo had a big mistake, so this would be the lap I'd be concerned about Domingo. Ilbrink's on his own, and Omar Baha is leading the car ahead of Domingo. So Hoyer, his competition is pretty well clear right now.
Yeah, as they come through the Curva Grande right now, that's Baha in front, that's Domingo right behind him. Last minute in qualifying, and Hoyer is not going to come out on track. His qualifying is done at this point as Moric moves his way up to P6 now.
Anthony Davidson has aborted his lap. He has his teammate of Guild coming up behind him, so a team strategy move here. Only 20 seconds left in this qualifying session. Davidson making a move for pole now.
Yeah, here we go. He's managed to get across the line in time as Dave Guild does not improve. But Davidson getting that draft off Guild, that might help him with his search for pole position here as he comes through the first chicane.
Yep.
Nice and smooth.
There wasn't a lot of draft, though.
No, not really, but we're going to go to the end of this lap for Davidson, and then we'll go straight to the grid for the race. We don't want to get caught out this time, just like we were at Imola. So the two Tulip Racing UK cars just making their way towards the Lesmos now, as Davidson's still trying to improve, and he's up in the first sector here, down in the second sector though, so he's got a bit of time to make up here as he comes up towards the Variante Ascari.
Yep, on that long run, he had a good solid run through the Lesmos, nothing dramatic from him. Hard King Zone into the very fast Variante Ascari, looks solid.
Very solid.
Finally
Wow.
able to get fully on the gas. He's got a decent run going here. This is going to be close.
It is, as they come down the long straight towards the Parabolica. Here he is now, and he's up again. So let's see if he can maintain that momentum. Coming through the Parabolica, gets a smooth run on the exit, down towards the line, and it's going to be Alexander Davidson, and he will not improve. He will not get the pole here, unfortunately, as we are going to go straight to the grid for today's race, as starting up on the pole will be Manuel Hoyer. In second place will be Alexander Davidson. Third place will be Paul Elbrink and Manuel Domingo. Row 3 will be Omar Baha and Libby Moritz. Row 4 will be Danny Hoekstra and Luke Groom. Row 5 will be Mark Bruning and Dave Guild. Row 6 will be Nathan Brumby and John Inga Nordners. Row 7 will be Jeff Browning and John Letro. And Atis de Beezing rounds out your field of 15 here today. So let's go down to the grid right now as we are ready to go racing here. First round of the season here, Frank, and it's going to get exciting from here.
Certainly the anticipation of a new season really starting to take hold. Everybody has a chance for the championship. It is going to be a fun start to this new season.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for the last drivers to grid up right now, and we will get this first round underway in anger here at Monza. And it's the first round of the eFormula series here, racing in the Formula 3.5s. The reigning champion, Paul Elbrink, will be starting, I believe, third on the grid. Did I just see that right?
Yes.
Yeah, yep. Third on the grid for Paul Elbrink. So he'll be looking to get a good result and defend his championship, as he should, as Hoyer grids up now. We are almost ready to go racing here, Frank. I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, certainly. And right now we're just waiting on Ilbrink, Domingo, well now Ilbrink and Baha to grid up, and we'll be ready to go. There goes Ilbrink and Baha.
Still not
is the
gridded up.
last one.
There we go, and we are ready to go racing now. We're just waiting for them to spool the engines up. The lights are going up on the screen right now. And we are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we are racing here at Monza for the first round of the eFormula series as they head down towards the first chicane. Big defensive move by Hoyer as they come down towards the first chicane here, Frank.
Yep, and a tight. Oh, Ilbrink locks up, has to go through the Rettifilio chicane. He's going to have to go around those bollards. He's going to fall right to the back. A disastrous start for last year's winner and reigning champion.
Now let's go back and look at that while they're making their way first around the first part of the lap, and we're going to go to
Domingo's got to move on for the lead here.
Yep.
Outside at De La Roggia, turns to the inside. He's going to take the lead in that number 9 away from Hoyer.
And he does. Domingo to the lead, and already you see Davidson looking to the inside of Hoyer there as they come through the first Lesmo, second Lesmo now. They are all bunched together, and everybody just trying to find their spots as we're looking at Luke Groom on the back of Danny Hoekstra. As we got one around there in the background, and that is Jeff Browning in trouble.
Yep, Jeff Browning, that's being out of the second Lesmo. And I cannot tell you how many times I've done this, just take it a little too hard on exit. You get on that AstroTurf just on the outside of the curb, and it just throws your car around. I cannot tell you how many times I've done that.
Oh, we've got a big crash here. Something's happened. Something's happened here between Bruning and Dave Guild. And you see right there through... Oh! Oh my goodness me! Big crash, and Mark Bruning started that one. We're going to go back and take a look and see what happened here into the Variante Sky. We'll go back to the racing in just a second, but it looks like Bruning lost the back end there, went around into the barrier, and Dave Gill just had nowhere to go.
Yep, just, again, that's just too much power too early, and Guild had 2 ways to go, and unfortunately guessed the wrong way, so those two are going to have a long afternoon.
Going back to the front of the grid now as we are looking at Manuel Domingo leading this thing as we bring up the ticker for the first time here today. And it's he's got a pretty decent lead, almost a second over. Actually, I'm going to go back to the old ticker because the new one's currently messed up a bit. So we're going to go back to this one as, yeah, Domingo out to a pretty decent lead already, as Davidson just trying to hold off the 2 positive sim racing cars right now.
Yeah, Davidson, while we were focusing on that, I think somebody else, it might have been Ilbring, having a little bit of an issue coming out of... Oh, there was a huge crash coming out of Lesmo 2.
It was Luke Groom.
Eddie Hoekstra and Luke Groom.
Oh.
Boy, that was big coming out of coming out of Lesmo 2.
Oh my goodness me, and we're going to go on board with Danny Hoekstra for that one. Let's take a look back and see what happened here.
These guys do not have a fast repair.
Oh.
So that's big.
Yeah, that is huge.
That's the end of Groom's day easily.
And Groom in pit road now with severe damage on his car. Let's go back to the lead battle though, as we've got 5 cars in the running for this one. Domingo leading this one with Davidson in second. He's got both of the positive sim racing cars right behind him. Hoyer is in third. Moritz is in fourth, and Baja on his debut here tonight. Very impressive P5 right now.
Yep, running solidly in the top 5 as Hoyer really having to defend against Lubomir Maric, and with how quick he was in practice and in qualifying, I'm surprised he's having to fight this hard. He was well away from everybody.
That he was, as we got wholesale, a lot of people in pit road. Actually, Hoekstra's the only one in pit road right now. It looks like Groom might have called it a day, as they
Groom had to tow.
Yeah. And Domingo's lead is not that far away from Davidson, you know. It's still less than a second as they come out the Variante Ascari down the main straight here, and it's a 5-car breakaway. Then you got Paul Ilbrink, who's about 2 seconds, almost 2 seconds off the back of Baja.
And is rapidly approaching the back of this group. Ilbrink running a 37.3. That last lap, still slowest of the guys up that top 5, but still really bearing down on them as Hoyer, that last lap, setting a 36.5. Alexander Davidson, the only one in this top group here that's in the 35-second bracket.
Yeah. And he just set that fastest lap as well, and he's already setting off in search of Domingo here as they come through the Curva Grande. You can see how close that gap is now, down to 0.3 of a second as they come into the second chicane now. Davidson is on fire here. He just flies it over the bumps here as he comes down towards the Lesmos, and he is on fire right now, really trying to catch that Radicals machine.
Yeah, he has a very, very quick car, does that 55. We saw it in qualifying, saw it in practice, but Davidson is really, really fast right now.
Had a problem for Nathan Brumby here. Let's go back and see what happened for the Australian as he comes into the second chicane, and just lost control of the car there. Just didn't really have a full spin there. Had to go off in the gravel, but he's back on track and he's running once again. Let's go back live though as we go to the battle between Domingo and Davidson as they come down the backstretch here, as Davidson taking a look there, and he's going to try and use that draft to his advantages when they come down the main straight here. You got to think that's going to be the case here.
Yeah, that's certainly what I would be looking to do here. Is Domingo, I wouldn't put too much of a defense on because Davidson is right there. He's going to get him going into one easily.
Yeah, he is, and the Tulip Racing UK driver is on form coming into this one, and big brake test going into the chicane. No problems there for Alexander Davidson. The Brit is going to take over the lead here and will go. Well, he's the new leader, Domingo. Now he's got to respond from this one because he had a lot of pace on that initial start and got away quite easily. Over a second was the gap, and Davidson, it didn't take him long to reel them back in again.
Yeah, no, Davidson, he certainly does appear, at least if he wasn't the first driver to get his tires warm, he certainly is the one that's handling it the best. Domingo, pardon me, remember, he started 4th out of the guys up here in the top 4, so he's kind of overshooting his ranks, I guess you would say.
That's a fair assessment, as Davidson and Domingo still battle it out. Behind them, we've got an inter-team battle between Hoyer and Moritz. Actually, Moritz just dropping back ever so slightly as they come out of the chicane, and Baja now being caught by Paul Ilbrink as they come out of the Ascari chicane. Let's go back a bit further, though. We've got Johnning and Ordness all by himself with Brumby, about 2 seconds behind.
Yeah, roughly there. Brumby is going to have Jeff Browning and Adish DeBeasing bearing down on him fairly soon, so he's going to get some company. As you're right, it's essentially pairs running through this field here. It's Davidson, Domingo, Hoyer, and Moritz, Baha and Ilbrink, Nordness, and I guess you'd call Brumby a pair, and then Browning and DeBeasing as a pair as well.
Yeah, as there is Manuel Hoyer just ahead of his teammate Lubomir Moritz. Moritz, if you remember to last week's broadcast, he won the pre-season event at Imola. Would love to get the same result again, just comfortably running in P4 now as we go back a bit further, and Omar Baha is under massive pressure now. The Californian has that really fast Dutchman right behind him.
Yeah, we know Ilbrink is incredibly quick. Had that bad restart, remember, locked up going through the Rettifilio and had to cut the chicane and slow down drastically in order to, 1, not hit the bollards, and 2, not get a penalty. But he is spinning his redemption drive now, is that 16 of Ilbrink, and he's almost to the back end of Baja.
Yep, there is the reigning champion just coming out of the Ascari chicane now down towards the Parabolica there. You see them both just trying to well, I think Baja is just trying to survive at this point because he is a man that's making his debut here tonight, and he's just trying to get the best finish he can as he's driving the Simicube number 5.
Yeah, it certainly is, and he's doing a fantastic job. And we talk about it all the time with guys debuting in new leagues, is just stay clean, make the best first impression you can, don't race anyone overly hard, because they're not used to racing with you. So just Baha's doing a good job of keeping his nose clean and making that good first impression.
Yeah, and he is. He's doing a good job of keeping Ilbrink behind him. We've got no instance right now as
Domingo is all over the back of Davidson, heading through the De La Roggia chicane and into the Lesmos. Hoyer and Moritz about the same separation as the front pair, so there's a battle brewing here at some point.
Then you see Davidson still with Domingo right behind him, as it looks like Ilbrink has finally got the pass done on Omar Baja. Let's go back and take a look at that, as it was actually through the Curva Grande here, and Ilbrink just got it done that easily, even before the chicane. It's a great move there by Ilbrink.
With the speed of Ilbrink catching the draft as well, certainly going to help. So Ilbrink now can set his sights on the back end of Lubomir Moritz. He has a job to do. He's got about 3.5 seconds to try to make up, and that is certainly not going to be easy. But Ilbrink now in the clear, to try to catch back up to that front quartet.
Domingo to the lead here as he come out of the parabolica down towards the first chicane here. Let's see how Davidson responds here when they come down to the chicane. As you can see the draft there between the two. And Davidson still not letting him get away here. This battle, I feel, between the 9 and the 55 is just going to go all race long.
Yeah, and there's going to come a point where pit stops are going to be important, and that could decide who wins this race. Honestly, we're only allowed these guys are only allowed to fill their cars up to half capacity as far as fuel goes. Going to make that all-important fuel stop very, very crucial here in this 35-lap race as we're working lap 8.
Now, I don't mean to alarm them, but Manuel Hoyer has started to get away from his teammate, and at the same time is starting to close that gap between himself and Davidson. So we could see this battle, this quartet tighten up again as they come for the second Lesmo, and already Paul Ilbrink is setting his sights on the back of that number 66 as they come up towards the Ascari.
Yeah, Ilbrink running very comparable times to that front four. Davidson was the only driver that was not in the 36s. Granted, that's because he was getting passed last lap, but still, these guys are all running very, very similar times. It's going to be difficult for Ilbrink to catch up to that group.
As we're on a nice overboard shot there of the two drivers in the lead right now. Domingo still leading this thing with Davidson in second. Hoyer is closing in. That gap has kind of waned a little bit now. It's gone back over 2 seconds. So Davidson must have seen that gap diminishing as we go side by side now for the lead. And that same move again for Davidson, using that draft out of the parabolica and just sailing on by just before he gets to the chicane.
Davidson has a really good car in the draft. That's not to say he's bad in the corners, but when that car is in a straight line, it is a monster. Ran a 36.0 that last lap compared to Domingo's 36.3. Moritz, who has the draft from his teammate Hoyer, only managed a 36.5. So that 55, when he's behind somebody, is very, very dangerous.
Yeah, as we're looking at the 66 and Moritz there, and he's still got a 3-second gap over Ilbrink, so that gap not exactly coming down between the two drivers. As we're going to go back to another battle here. It was a battle. I don't think it's a battle anymore. Brumby getting around Nordnes. Nordnes in trouble from... Nordnes is going to be in trouble from Bruning if he's not careful.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Bruning is starting to come up to the back of that number 64 of Nordnes. Adage to Beesing has fallen off of Nordich. Off of Bruning.
As we're looking at Leitro, there having to cut the chicane there. So the other driver from the Troll Racing, Joel Sim Racing, not exactly having the best of times, as he's all the way back down in P11 right now. And you mentioned Nordnes there. He's starting to struggle a little bit as well.
Yeah, he is. Back up at the front there, Domingo took a half-hearted look the inside of Davidson, trying to fight for that lead, as I think something happened there with Moritz. Oh no, Hoyer had an incident going through the Rentifilio chicane. He's allowed Moritz to go by.
Yeah, cut the chicane, and that's going to be a slowdown for Hoyer, as he's now got
big lockup.
He's lost a lot of momentum there.
Yes, certainly has, and that's put him under fire for Paul Ilbrink now.
Ilbrink only about a second back from the 74 now, as Ilbrink has actually put a 3-second gap between himself and Baha. Baha not so worried though. He's got a massive lead between himself and Brumby.
Yeah, you're talking a good, 24 seconds from 6th to 7th. But this top group here covered by only 7 seconds. The front two only by a couple of tenths. And after that mistake by Hoyer, a little bit of a gap now between second and third.
Yeah, and you can see Ilbrink in the background there as they come towards the parabolica, and Ilbrink is not going to sit back and He's seen his target and he's just going to aim for it right now. We just had an incident with Jeff Bruning here. He went off track just a second ago. Let's go back and see what happened here. It's coming through the Lesmos. Just went a bit too far wide and kicked up a little bit of dust there.
And still up here at the front. It's just half-hearted little looks by Domingo, just flashing into that right side mirror saying, yep, I'm still here. You still have to pay attention to me, as they're catching actually Mark Bruning in the number 61, who was involved in an incident on lap 1 and slides coming out of the De La Roggia chicane.
And Bruning having a terrible day.
Yeah, that's...
Elbrink almost had an incident there coming out of the De La Roggia.
Yeah, he's sliding again through the Lesmos.
Yeah, that Elbrink having a bit of a moment through the De La Roggia chicane as well. Just almost lost the back end coming out of it, as we've had a problem for that Atish to Beezing. Let's go back and take a look and see what happened here for the Kiwi in the 10. As he just hit the power put.
Too much gas coming out of the Rettifilio.
Yep, as we go back live again to the lead battle here, and it's still Paul Elbrink trying to catch up to Hoyer, but Hoyer obviously extending that gap after Elbrink made that little mistake for the De La Roggia chicane. Let's go back to the lead battle though, as Domingo looks like he might finally have a run on Davidson. Might leave it a bit too late though now.
Yeah, it's again just takes a peek into that right mirror, gets in the center of that right mirror, and then falls in line behind to take the corner. Those two are running almost identical lines, identical speeds, identical times. So Davidson and Domingo are really having a battle here. Only 11 hundredths of a second separated those two on lap time last lap alone.
Yep, Liberman Moritz still trying to close that gap. The gap between Domingo and Moritz actually now 2 seconds, as he has completely got away from Hoyer. That's obviously because Hoyer cut the chicane and had to deal with a slowdown. Now, he's still comfortably ahead of Elbrink, but Elbrink, he's driving on the jagged edge right now to try and catch up to the back of that 74.
Elbrink just a couple of tenths quicker than Hoyer, and that's really all he needs. He's just about in that draft of Hoyer to make that draft mean something, and a little bit of a bitch out of Manuel Hoyer going through the Variante Ascari.
And while all this is happening, it's helping the top two get away, because Elbrink does not want to see this this stage. We still got 24 laps to go, but I might make that 23 now as the leaders cross the line, but this early in the race to be 6 seconds off the lead, it's not exactly helping with his confidence this early on.
No, you can. Domingo with a little bit longer of a look on that inside. He's really trying to time that run out. But remember, for Elbrink, we still have that pit stop to go, and he is right on Hoyer right now in that 74. So there's still opportunity for him to make up that time lost if he does decide to bring it in a little bit early, as Luke Groom has officially now called it an afternoon.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure Danny Hoekstra has called it a day as well. He's probably just up in the race control booth right now, as both of those tulip cars just having a horrid first race here today. Obviously, Hoekstra is out of the race, and Mark Bruning, he's had his fair share of trouble, just losing it through the Ascari chicane on lap 1, and unfortunately taking Dave Gill with him.
Meanwhile, the Tulip Racing UK team is currently sitting in the first position, and David Guild also sitting in 10th. So not a great day for Guild, but still a solid day for the number 98.
Yeah, and Guild, obviously, he was on the podium at Imola last week, and he'll be looking to improve that. Obviously didn't get off to the best of starts here, but still looking pretty solid. Remember last time he was here, he got stuck on those bumps in the chicane, had to
Domingo's looking here. Still, I think he's content because he could have, with the run that he had, he could have passed Davidson easily there. I'm surprised he's just sitting there content in second place right now. But going back, yes, that was the teammate moment of the decade we had last time.
Kevin Shine having to push him off the bumps.
Yep, that was one of the greatest moments I've seen in sim racing.
As we're looking back at this battle between Hoyer and Ilbrink. Now, this is going to be an interesting one between these two. Hoyer, we've been told, is a fast driver and is capable of doing this sort of thing. So Ilbrink might have a bit of a challenge here trying to get around this 74.
Yeah, Hoyer's impressed already. He started on pole for his first race. And again, as you mentioned at the top of the broadcast, March basically warning everyone last week, saying, yeah, this guy's coming in. He's going to be quick. So Ilbrink, I think, might be content to ride behind him just to try to get back up to Lubomir Maric and not lose time fighting.
Yeah, and we are looking at Hoyer still, as Davidson's had a bit of an incident somewhere. Let's go back and see what happened. He might have ran a bit wide through the Lesmos, and he did. He's kicking up a bit of dirt there. No, nothing too serious. As he holds on to leaders, Leartro's had an incident as well. Let's go back and see what's happened to him. As he comes down towards the first chicane, and it's going to be another case of him going straight through again. That's twice he's done that now, Frank.
Yeah, you miss your braking point sometimes. Sometimes you're looking down at the wheel. I believe on these steering wheels you can see how much fuel you have left in the tank, if I remember right. If you want to cut this race up in half, we're getting pretty close to that. So this is, it's getting down to strategy time here in this race.
Yeah, and it's getting well. We've only had, well, coming up to 20 laps to go here. That means we've had 15 laps in this race done and dusted already. As Davidson is looking, it looks like he's starting to put a gap between himself and Domingo now.
Yeah, Davidson has gotten out just a little bit, not too much. I'm riding on board with Manuel Domingo right now, and he's just minding his P's and Q's, staying very solid, trying to hit his marks. He knows that he has the speed to get up and pass Davidson. He's just right now focusing on trying to stay there.
Well, let's ride on board for a lap with Domingo as they come down the backstretch here towards the Parabolica. Let's go on board for a lap with Domingo and see how he handles this thing under anger as they come down towards the line. Here is a lap with Manuel Domingo in the number 9 Radicals machine. So looking at the driver inputs as well there, Frank, you can actually see how he's turning the wheel through especially through the Lesmos, and just how he's having to control that car, making his way around the corners here as he's trying to stay on the back of Davidson. Just not working for him right now.
He had a very bad run that time through the Lesmos, just was not good. The first Lesmo he went a little too hard into, and this second one I think he might have had a little bit of play in the back end on that second Lesmo, but other than that, he's been very solid. Just a little tiny bit too much turn through the middle of Ascari. His car is hurting right now.
Yeah, as we go back to the TV cameras here, and that was pretty much a lap on board with Manuel Domingo as they come through the Parabolica. Davidson running a little bit wide there. Domingo actually set the fastest lap of the race last time around, so probably not so good this time around, and he's lost a bit of time this time around. Still, he's about half a second back off the race leader now. Maric running all by himself. He is starting to close the gap now between himself and Domingo.
Yeah, we make people nervous when we know when they know we're watching. as that's exactly just a couple of tenths off, about 3 tenths off, as Davidson was able to somewhat respond to the previous lap from Moritz. Davidson putting in, from Domingo. Davidson putting in a 35.9 to kind of shout back at Domingo's 35.7.
As we're looking at the leaders once again, let's go back to the battle between Manuel Hoyer and Paul Ilbrink, and it's still stationary between these two. Ilbrink still not pushing the issue on the 74, and the 74 actually looks slightly faster than Ilbrink at this point. I'm pretty sure that's the right thing you're seeing as well.
Yeah, they're still losing time though to the group ahead. A couple laps ago, it was a 6.2 and a 6.9 second difference to the race lead. We're looking at 6.7 and 7.2 right now off of that lead. So they are losing time slowly but surely. Only about a tenth or so a lap, but still over an extended period of time, those tenths certainly add up.
Yeah, they do. And you see all 5 drivers in the same shot right there. That was pretty impressive down that straight. As they come towards the parabolic, we're still looking at Hoyer and Ilbrink. And in the background there, all by himself, is Omar Baha. And I can't really think he'll be complaining about this one. Just running a nice smooth race on his debut here, currently in P6.
Yeah, he's got the Verstappen race going on right now. He's too slow to catch the drivers ahead of him, but he's way too quick for the guys behind him. He's stuck in a pocket right now, and that's... If you want to know what Verstappen's been thinking all season long, just ask Baha, because he's in that same boat right now.
Only problem is, instead of 2 cars in front of him, he's got 5 cars in front of him. So,
yes, true.
That's Nathan Brumby running all by himself right now in P7. Jeff Bruning in P8. We've got the Troll Sim Racing car of John Inge Nordnes in P9, and Dave Guild still not too far behind Nordnes in P10. Starting to reel in that number 64 now.
Yeah, Nordnes must have had an off, because Guild was a second and a half quicker that last lap over Nordnes. That the other Troll Sim Racing car, Lietro, not too far away from getting lapped here by the front pair.
And you see him right there, just coming out of the Ascari chicane, and right behind him is the race leader, Alexander Davidson, with Domingo right behind him. Now, Domingo might see a chance here with them coming around this lap car. He might see an opportunity to try to get a bit closer to the race leader here.
Yeah, certainly does have that opportunity, but both of those guys have the option of draft as Lietro takes it pit side. And again, those pit stops should be coming up, as now you're right, here comes Domingo heading into turn 1. Looking for the race lead. Will he get it? No, he will not.
Just tucks him right behind Davidson as they come through the chicane, and not going to make the move this time around, as they put a bit more time on Moritz there. Moritz must have lost a bit of time there through for some reason, because he's lost about half a second in that past lap.
Yeah, Moritz ran the same lap time. Well, actually, no. Domingo ran a 35.8. That last lap, Moritz a 36.2. He ran the same lap time as the leader. So Moritz is still hanging in there. Might have had a slight off that moved him around a little bit, but other than that, he's still running his solid race.
Yeah, Manuel Hoyer that last time around setting a personal best there, as he's put a bit more of a gap between himself and Paul Ilbrink. And Ilbrink just thinking maybe this race might slowly be getting away from him now.
Yeah, just a little bit. As again, just anything can happen. We saw it last week at Imola with the race leader wrecking, and then I believe it was Ilbrink in second place trying to catch up to Morris, had an incident late in the race, just pushing too hard. So anything can still happen, but yeah, it's going to take an otherworldly drive from Hoyer to try to catch back up.
And we've seen him do those before, so nothing's.
I believe Davidson's in the lane.
Yes, he is. Davidson, first driver to come down pit road, and it's pretty unusual for the leader to come down first, but here he is in pit road. And we're going to go a bit more of a focus on that one as he comes down and enters his pit box there.
Yep. It looks as though it's just fuel for Manuel Domingo. So he is down and away for Davidson, pardon me. And Domingo is going to have to put on one heck of a lap right now to try to try to make that difference up with the undercut that Davidson is getting.
He took tires as well because he went up on the jacks as Davidson goes right through the chicane.
Well, that's pushing too hard on cold tires. Missed that braking zone, and that's certainly put Manuel Domingo ahead of him now.
Yeah, and let's see what Domingo can do here. He knows he's got to come into pit road as Jeff Bruning is the next driver to come into pit road.
I would not be surprised if we saw Domingo, Maric, Hoyer, and Ilbrink are still fighting. Those guys are heading into the Variante Ascari and going through the Variante Ascari right now. I would not be surprised if we saw those guys entering the lane next year.
As we've got a nice overboard shot over the top shot of Domingo as Domingo.
Yep, here he
coming
comes.
to pit road. So here we go. Pit stops.
Maric stays out.
Yeah. He takes over the lead for now. Hoyer is going to bring it into pit road as well. Looks like Ilbrink is going to continue on as his teammate is the preferred first driver to come down pit road here as they come down towards the lane. You can see Maric and Domingo right there. Not Maric, Hoyer and Domingo right there. And you look at the angle that Domingo's got into his box there. That's very interesting.
It just gets straight out. Already down and away is Domingo. He should have the race lead here as we're waiting on Davidson. Where is he? Coming down the front straightaway. I really don't think this one's going to be close, as Davidson has the clear lead into the braking zone, and it was that mistake by Davidson going into the Rettifilio chicane that did it.
Yeah, it was, and he got a slowdown from that slide for the chicane as well. So he is pegged back by quite a few seconds, and you can tell that right there as now Domingo has the net lead here, but it's all dependent on whether Maric has a bad pit stop here, because Maric is flying right now.
Yep, Maric setting 36.2s here lately. Ilbrink setting 36.5s. Not really a threat, as Hoyer's had an uneventful pit exit, which is exactly what you want. Maric heading into Parabolic. I would have to assume he's coming in this time. And he will bring that Formula Renault in.
Yep, same for... Actually, Paul Ilbrink is going to continue on here. Now, I wonder if he's trying to make up some lost ground here as he comes down towards the first chicane here. Passing that very Arrows-looking Jeff Bruning machine. You know, the 1997 Arrows. Looks very similar.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Omar Bahar staying out on track as well, as Maric is just in his pit box now. There is Zatish Debizing on the bottom of your screen right there, as there goes Maric out on track, and here comes Domingo. He's going to take over from Maric, and same for Davidson. Oh, this is going to be close between Davidson and Maric.
Yeah, I think Maric is going to end up sliding in behind Davidson, but that was a lot closer than it would have been had Davidson not blown the Rettifilio.
That's true. As they come through the Curva Grande now, it's going to be close between Davidson and Maric here, as Maric now looking very much like he wants to get around him, and they're going to be side by side coming into the second chicane here, and let's see if Davidson can hold him off. He does. Great defensive move there by the Brit.
Yeah, and Davidson has the warmer tires, and that does make a difference as far as car handling. So not surprising that Davidson was able to hold on, but now Maric has that opportunity, because Maric has been running the same times as the guys up at the front. After the incident with Hoyer going into the Rettifilio sort of set him back. So Maric seeing this as his chance now to try to move up on the podium instead of just being okay with the third step.
Ilbrink in pit road right now, as he's going to take his one and only stop of the day. Same for Bahar. He's going to come in. We're going to focus on Domingo, though. He is the man that's going to be trying to take over the lead from his teammate here as he comes through the Parabolica. It's going to be pretty easy going here for Domingo as he comes flying out of the Parabolica. I assume he's going to take over the lead here.
Yeah, he will, and he's got a 2-second lead over Davidson, actually a little bit more now than 2 seconds, looking more like 3 seconds over Davidson. So that 9 has been flying since he's been set free after that pit stop.
And more crucially, Ilbrink getting out ahead of Manuel Hoyer. That is a big pit stop there for Paul Ilbrink, getting up to P4.
Yep, and that's the speed on the in lap. So after Ilbrink got free of Hoyer, he was able to set down a couple of very good laps that's allowed him to jump Hoyer even with the overcut.
Absolutely, as they come through the Lesmo. That's Paul Ilbrink we're looking at right now. Let's go back to the race leader, Manuel Domingo, and already it looks like Davidson is starting to close that gap now.
Ever so slightly. Davidson setting a 36.6 last time by Domingo, setting a 36.1, but Davidson has been trending upwards here on this lap, closing that gap in and actually running away from Lubomir Maric.
Yeah, and you see in the background there, Paul Ilbrink has got a decent gap over Manuel Hoyer, and they're about another 6 seconds ahead of Omar Baha, who's almost a minute ahead of Brumby. So this top 6 is completely checked out from everybody else in the field.
And it's also partly to do with the fact that these guys have stayed clean. There have been incidents that the guys behind have had to slow down for and try to avoid that the guys in front of them have not had to. So that's also part of the reason why there is such a huge discrepancy between 6th and 7th position on the timing pylon.
Yeah, we're looking at Alexander Davidson here. Maric has actually started to reel it back in again. So this could be a battle for second place right here, as Davidson's still desperately trying to close that gap between himself and Domingo. He has taken more time out of him, but not by much, as actually Davidson 0.2 of a second faster than Domingo that last time around.
Yeah, Davidson's found his groove and is starting to reel in, and that's going to show just how quick, and if he does start to reel him in, sorry, completely lost my train of thought. I got it now. If he does have a setup that's leaning more towards being faster on the straightaways, it is really going to show once he gets within around 1.5 seconds to a second behind Domingo, because he will really start to fly back up to the gearbox of Domingo's number 9.
Just in an incident there for Atish Dabizian coming through through the Della Roger, just losing the back end there and just slightly tapping that tyre wall on the exit, and that'll put him back even further. He's down in P11 right now. One driver that's made a good progress back up through the field is this man in the second Tulip Racing UK machine, Dave Guild, up to P8 now, and he's only 5 seconds off the back of Brumby.
Yeah, and he's got an 11-second gap to Bruning, so Guild having a very good run through the pit stops and just keeping it clean, trying to just stay on the track, and it's suiting him well right now.
Yeah, as there is Guild just going into the Ascari chicane there, just really throwing it in there, and he knows that Brumby is not that far up the road, and he needs to he's just throwing that car around, trying to close that gap as we go back to Alexander Davidson here, as he's got that gap now under 2 seconds now.
Yeah, he has really been working a 36 flat for Davidson last lap to a 36.3 for Domingo, so he has really been rolling his Davidson. It might be, again, you talk about it a lot, you don't make it, it doesn't seem like it's a big difference, but if you can flatten this car out as much as you can, sure, it's going to hurt you through these chicanes and more through the fast corners like Ascari and the Lesmos, Parabolica as well, but the straight line speed, especially around here, is absolutely paramount to having a good lap.
As they come out of the Parabolica once again, we are 10 laps to go in this race. Domingo holds a 2-second lead over Alexander Davidson. And remember, these guys do have what we call DRS, but it's kind of a push-to-pass thing. They have a limited amount to do them, I think they only have 10. So, they've got to use those sparingly, and I'm wondering if Davidson might have used all his up, because he was closing the gap for a little bit, and now it seems to have stopped a little bit now.
We were talking. I was talking about the 3/10 difference between Davidson and Domingo last time through. Domingo responded. He was only a 10th slower than Davidson. Davidson set a 35.9, Domingo a 36 flat. So Domingo started to pick up his pace, knowing that the 55 is on his way.
Yeah, Domingo looking to start his season off right as he's trying to get this first race win in the books. Remember, next week we are off to, I believe it's Spain we're off to next week. So
I think it might be Watkins Glen, actually.
Oh, that's going to be one to look forward to. I like Watkins Glen.
And I think actually I don't think we actually have a week off next week.
Yeah, the series runs every 2 weeks for those that don't know. So. Yeah. In 2 weeks' time, we are off to the United States. Then we're back as we go to the Circuit de Catalunya, and that one is going to be one to look forward to. I love that track.
Yeah, it's a very fun track to drive. It's the main home of Formula One testing, so it's one of those classic racetracks.
As we're still focused on this second place here, Lubomir Moric still maintaining the gap between himself and Davidson, not really pushing the issue, not really losing him either. And the gap is just under a second between those two.
Yeah, Moric is running pretty much identical times to Davidson, and again, it goes back to what I mentioned when they come out of the pits, was that Moric has been running up there with them, but because of the incident with Hoyer earlier on in the race, it put him back. He's now showing what he could do, staying up with this lead pack. And yes, on the 21st, it is Prix at Watkins Glen.
Yeah, I can tell you, Wayne.
Same exact thing that happened to Paul Ilbrink on the start. That's what put him back into the 4th position as of right now, as he has completely driven away from Manuel Hoyer. Hoyer just not able to keep up with Ilbrink whatsoever. Ilbrink actually closing in on Lubomir Moric. He might have a shout at the podium here in the last, 7 laps or so.
Absolutely. As we're seeing a battle here between Brumby and Guild, and it looks like Guild has gone around Nathan Brumby here, and that is confirmed right there. We're going to go back and take a look at the pass as it happened, and you can see it right there. It looks like Brumby might have made a mistake out of the second Lesmo, and Guild just sailed on by.
Yeah, that is what it looks like to me. A little too slow on exit, maybe slipped a little bit. He slipped a little bit on exit of the Lesmo.
As Letro making his way into pit road for a second stop here, it looks like. So Letro not having a good day.
Domingo made a mistake somewhere, because Davidson is right on him now.
To go, it's coming down to it now. Well, 7 laps to go. I apologize.
Once we sort this out, go back to the incident with John Nordness, because that will explain everything you need to know about why Davidson is in the position he's in right now.
Oh! Nordness just getting it all wrong for the chicane, and Domingo nowhere to go.
Yep, and that's exactly what put him back. And Domingo has lost that race lead, and he has...
We've had an incident for Davidson. Sorry to cut you off there. We've had an incident for Davidson, and Davidson going into the back of Bruning, and that's lost him second place. Oh my goodness me. And it's all kicking off with 7 laps to go here, Frank.
Yeah, it certainly has. I'm looking back at that incident. I'm seeing right now the run into turn 1, and yep, that's Bruning just trying to stay out of the way. And unfortunately for Bruning might catch a lot of flack with that for that from Davidson. but there was really nothing that Davidson could do. There was really nothing that Bruning did wrong there. He was trying to give those guys plenty of room to get into the first chicane and just, I guess, realized they were running side by side.
And this, with the damage on Domingo's car and now the damage on Davidson's car, that's let Moritz back into this race now. And look who's right behind Davidson. Paul Ilbrink is back in this one now.
Yeah, Ilbrink is going to fight back here for a podium because that damage on the front end of Davidson is going to hurt him a little bit. And Moritz, who started 6th in this race, remember, is now right up here showing what he could do when he has that free space back up close to the leaders. Would not be surprised if he gets a big move coming up here soon.
Yeah, as we've seen an incident, we're just going back and looking at an incident there for Dave Guild, who's lost the position to Nathan Brumby again, and it's that bump he got caught on last time we were at Monza, just catching him out again, and he's lost the position to the number 14.
Yeah, and he's actually taking it back now, heading into the Variante Ascari, so didn't lose it for long as he's now back out in front of Brumby, and that draft is going to become very, very important for both Lubomir Moritz and Paul Ilbrink coming up here very, very soon.
Then you see Paul Ilbrink right on the back of Alexander Davidson. That front wing damage really starting to hurt him now, as a track like this will hurt your aero if you even just bent it up slightly. And it's not serious wing damage for Davidson, but that is just enough to really hurt you on the long straights here.
Especially if he has a more straight line speed setup in the car that's running low on an aero downforce to begin with, that's really going to impede him.
As they come down the main straight here for another 5 laps to go here at Monza. Paul Ilbrink now setting up Davidson for a pass here, and Ilbrink not going to be afraid to make a late lunge here, but he's not going to do it. He's just going to sit right behind the number 55 and just wait for another chance here, as we're looking at Lubomir and Moritz now right on the back of Manuel Domingo here, and Moritz now finding himself in a prime position to go for a race win here.
Ilbrink slipped coming out of the Rettifilio, so that's put him way behind Alexander Davidson. And I think Ilbrink didn't make a move going into the Rettifilio because there was a little bit of a defensive weave. Nothing too major from Davidson, kind of deterred Ilbrink right when he would be about to make his run from going down to that inside.
And going back to this lead battle now between Domingo and Moritz. Moritz is still trying to reel in that number 9, and how good will this be for Moritz? Really, just really starting off his season right, winning last week in the pre-season race, now challenging for a win here at Monza, and they've put a massive gap between themselves and Davidson.
Yeah, Davidson has put a massive gap back to himself. His last lap will try to get a lap time here as Davidson comes around. Moritz ran a 35.8 last time. Compare that to Domingo's 35.9 up in the race lead, but that's Moritz getting a lot of draft off of that lead car. Davidson puts in a clean lap. He's down in the 37.2s right now, so he has lost a full second on the drivers that he was racing with.
Yeah, look at the lap time difference between Moritz and Domingo. Domingo put in a 36.0, while Moritz put in a 135.7, just 2 1,000ths of a second slower than the fastest lap of the race, which is currently being held by Manuel Domingo.
He's got a couple laps to do this here. If you're going to get him, I would say right around here, this area is probably the latest you could wait to get him if you're going to be in a position, which it looks like he's going to be on the last lap. Della Roggia is a very good place to try to get someone to outbrake themselves. We've seen a lot of incidents coming out of the Lesmos. Ascari is way too tight to make a move, and the Parabolica can be a little too funneling down towards that inside to try to make a move stick coming to the line.
As Ilbrink puts a move on Davidson round the outside going towards the Ascari chicane, and Ilbrink finds himself up in a podium position now, and now this is a good start, actually, for Radicals, actually, first and third on the podium as it stands right now. Manuel Hoyer, though, is starting to close that gap between Ilbrink and Davidson now.
Yeah, and it's also a very big comeback drive from Ilbrink after blowing the first chicane, as now here comes this battle for the lead here. Domingo forcing Maric to take him around the outside. Just 3 laps to go, and Domingo wisely taking that inside line. It's a sharper entry into the corner, but with how tight that corner is, Maric has no chance around the outside there.
Yeah. 3 laps to go here at Monza, and it's a battle between these two for the race win. Ilbrink might be a little bit too far back, as Alexander Davidson has had enough of that wing damage and now took it down pit side. I don't think it's repaired his wing, actually, because his wing still looks slightly bent up as he comes out of pit road.
Yes, so just ever so slightly, but Maric coming out of the Curva Grande made a move again. Domingo forced it to the outside. Maric had to back off going into the De La Roggia chicane, and now he's got that work to do. Maric trying to find any way, shape, or form to get a good enough run to get around Domingo, who is intent on giving Maric the worst lines possible into these corners.
As they come through the Ascari chicane, now we're going to be coming to 2 laps to go when they come back round again as they come down this long straight now. Ilbrink is about 6 seconds off this lead now, but going to be content with where he is at the moment. But I've got to be careful because, like I said, Manuel Hoyer is not all that far behind, and he's reeling in the Dutchman here.
Yeah, he's going to need to take seconds out of Ilbrink's lead per lap, as we now only have 2 to go if he wants a real legitimate chance at it. But now it's going to get interesting again here, as this is Jeff Bruning ahead of Manuel Domingo in this race lead here. Bruning trying to stay on the lead lap, giving Domingo a chance at some draft to try to pull away from Maric with just 2 to go.
Yeah, as they come down to the De La Roggia, and it's going to be Domingo leading, Maric in second. Maric ever closer. Can Domingo get dispatch Bruning before it becomes a problem for him as they come through the first Lesmo here? Bruning might be the deciding factor here as they come for the second Lesmo and still not getting out of the way here. This could cause problems here for Domingo.
Yeah, it could have really slowed his exit up, but Lubomir Maric also, it just looks like Domingo's car is a little bit more settled on corner exit than Maric. Solid run. A better run through Ascari is riding on board with Maric. The better run through Ascari there for Domingo, you could see up ahead of Maric.
Now, as they come down towards the Parabolica here, this is where it all comes down to now. They are coming out of the Parabolica. 1 final lap to go between Domingo and Maric. And what can Maric do here to try and get that lead away from the number 9 as they come down towards the first chicane for the final time? This your battle for the lead, and we're starting the season off right here with the eFormula Series. A big battle to bring it to the line here, Frank.
Yeah, a very hard, solid entrance into the Rettifilio for Maric as he closes right to the back of Domingo. He might have a shot here through the Lesbos and into Del Rogis. He's got that draft. Domingo is able to block the inside, but a huge run for the driver of 66, and Maric able to make it stick on the outside, able to take the lead.
Yeah, as your connection's going dodgy again there, Frank, as we are going to take over here as Maric going through the Lesmos and gets a massive lead over Domingo through the Lesmos, and that was all it took. A big aggressive move from the Czech, the Czech man as they come through towards the Ascari chicane. Domingo, no pace in that car now after being pushed off the track through the De La Roggia, now finds himself possibly under threat from Paul Ilbrink as Maric makes his way through the Ascari chicane for the final time here today as he comes down the long straight now towards the Parabolica. We're going to finish this one off with Maric in 1, Domingo in 2, Ilbrink in 3, Hoyer in 4th, and this is going to finish really well. Such excitement here, but it's going to be one man that's going to claim honours here. Coming out of the Parabolica, it's going to come down to Lubomir Moric, who claims the first race win of the season here at Monza, with Manuel Domingo in second, Paul Ilbrich in third. Hoyer will cross the line for P4. Omar Baha just making his way through the Parabolica now. He'll claim the last spot in the top 5, and a great run for him on his debut, and a big disappointment for this man right here. Alexander Davidson going to finish outside the top 5 after being up the front for most of the race here, Frank.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate, but what a move, and just great, close, tight racing up at the front there, giving March the win. A little bit of wheel banging, but nothing out of the ordinary for just good, close, tight, hard racing.
Yep, as we're going to go straight to the interviews for this race, and my goodness me, what a race we've seen here at Monza for the first round of the season. And we are going to go and reach out to the driver that brought home the race win here today. And Frank, I believe you got Lubomir Moric with you right now.
Yes, sir. Lubomir Moric, a perfect 2 for 2 to start this season. One of them not points, one of them points. Just walk us through that last lap move.
Oh yeah, hello, good evening, guys.
Hello.
I'm just checking that on the replay because it was not clear from my perspective what happened there, and yeah, it was kind of Hail Mary to the Manuel Domingo, the last possible chance to overtake for a victory. So yeah, we went side by side into the third and fourth corner, and yeah, I was a bit luckier than Manuel in that. I think we netted a bit on the apex. I believe Manuel won't blame me on that. I think it was a racing accident after all. However, yeah, I stick into the very inside, so there was nothing much better I could do. So I believe it was a fair from my side. Anyway, still congratulations, Manuel, to the podium. He had a quite difficult time with the traffic during this race, and yeah, he was fast. He was maybe better than me on the lap times, but all the luck was on my side this time.
You had, going into the pit stops, you were a little ways behind after Manuel Hoyer had his incident that puts you a little bit further behind. How excited were you when you came, when the pit cycle was done and you saw how much closer Davidson and Domingo were, that you could have a chance at winning this race?
I was quite surprised that Alexander was side by side with me when I left the pit. So he might have had done something wrong during his pit stop. So yeah, it was a great opportunity because I know that Alex was one of the fastest in the field. So the plan was to stick with him till I warm up the tires, and then we'll see, because there was a very good opportunity to get close to Manuel Domingo, which actually happened. And then again, a big bunch of luck on my side, because Alex had a way bad luck with the traffic again. He crashed entering the T1 when the traffic was letting them pass. So unfortunate for him. I'm very sorry for him as well. He did a very good race.
And certainly did. Is off next week, but we go the week after to Watkins Glen. Big fast track. What are you expecting out of the American Grand Prix in 2 weeks?
Watkins Glen is definitely one of the best track we have in this service, and this car behaves very well in there. There is a lot of very fast corner, a lot of slipstream. I believe it will be a much more interesting racing, a lot of side-by-side race opportunities. So I'm really looking forward to Watkins.
All right. Anybody you want to thank before we let you go here after your season opening victory?
So definitely our team Positive Sim Racing, Team Delisle, Greg Olson, and Manuel Hoyer, my teammates, helping me and supporting the whole week preparing for this event. And of course, our sponsors, Chill Real Timing, Set Vantage Board, Modem, and Studio 3T. As well as Danny Hoekstra and all the organizers of EFS series, and definitely you for the broadcasting. Thank you.
No problem, sir. Lubomir Maric, your winner here at Monza after a dramatic last lap. Lubomir, congratulations.
Thank you.
So that was the race winner with us right now. That was Lubomir Maric. Going to try and reach out to Manuel Domingo. I don't think I can find him. And we had this problem last time we spoke to him. As right now we're going to speak to the man that finished in third place. That will be Mr. Paul Ilbrink, as I bring him up to the booth there. Paul, a bit of a problem at the start. You were playing catch up from that point onwards.
Yeah, I missed like the last season. I missed the first race of that season, and I thought I just missed the first corner this time. So yeah, that didn't go to plan, but yeah, it was a fun race afterwards, but a bit lonely.
Yeah, but you showed a lot of pace there to move your way back up to third place. Obviously, you had to rely on a couple of mistakes from the drivers ahead of you. You looked very comfortable with the speed you had there. Just didn't seem to be able to keep up with the guys just in front of you.
Well, maybe it looked comfortable, but it certainly wasn't. The car's quite tricky to drive around here with the medium downforce set. It's a bit sketchy in some corners, so I was happy I kept it on the black stuff for the most of the time. But yeah, good job by all the guys in front, and too bad about that incident towards the end that made some changes, but well done on Lubomir for the win and Manuel on finishing second.
Yeah, and a good race all around from everybody here. Let's talk about your own race there. You had obviously that difficult start there, but you were not exactly pushing the issue with the drivers ahead of you. Obviously, you were behind Hoyer for the most part. Were you just happy to sit there behind them and just wait for the pit stops to pan out?
Pretty much. I caught up with him, but he I didn't know if I would be much quicker if I overtook him, and if I started battling him and tried to overtake him and it wouldn't work out, we would lose quite a bit of time. So I was happy to just sit behind, follow him, save a bit of fuel, stop a lap later, and it worked out because I jumped him in the pits, and from there on I drove it onto the podium in the end.
Yeah, and drove it onto the podium. You did, so that's a positive end to what was a difficult start to the race. Looking ahead to the next event in 2 weeks' time, we are off to the United States as we head to Watkins Glen. What are your thoughts heading to that one?
Much better than Monza, I think, so should be fun.
All right, and before I let you go and celebrate your podium, anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Sure, Manuel, my teammates here, for doing a good job finishing on the podium, and my other teammates at Radicals Online, and our partners and sponsors: Armor Centrum, Crampfield Simulation, Track Racer, Joe Real Timing, Turn Racing, MOATF Podcast, Six Sideways, and Pixel Dust.
All right, Paul Ilbrink in the Radicals number 16, coming home third step on the podium here tonight. Congratulations, and we will catch you in 2 weeks' time in Watkins Glen.
All right, see you there.
So that was Paul Ilbrink joining us in the booth here. Frank, a very, very exciting start to this season.
It certainly was, with last lap drama, and I know we weren't able to get a word with Manuel Domingo, but in the drivers' chat after the race, he did manage to make a couple of statements. Lubo, no congrats, you take me off track last lap. So obviously, when you come out on the wrong end of something like that, it always hurts. It's always infuriating. But that really was nothing more than a racing incident. A dive, it wasn't necessarily even a late dive bomb. It was just hard racing. Lubomir Maric trying to get the lead on the outside, which is difficult to do, having to try to avoid those high curbs as well. So controversial slightly. Anything bad, though, or malicious intent? No, I wouldn't say that either.
As we're going to go back and look at this incident here between the two, as I hope it looks at it. Look at this big outside pass there for Moritz as he he kind of pushed. It looked like he pushed him off the track, but it didn't really look that serious. As we're going to take another angle of it here right now, and you see the side by side there. Didn't really look like major contact between the 9 and the 66, but obviously Domingo led most of the race here. Obviously going to be looking to looking for somebody to blame after that one.
Yeah, and he's clearly on the outside going into the corner. He's actually ahead going into the corner. So it's not like Moritz came in and made a big dive bomb. It's the incident comes because Moritz is trying to avoid that gigantic orange sausage curb in the middle of the right-hander on the second half of the Della Roggia. So that's just a racing incident is really all that is. And I completely understand Moritz being upset. Has every right to be after leading as much of the race as he did, but that's just a hard racing incident.
Unfortunately, it was, and he's still got 10 more. He's still got 9 more races to get back at him, and still finishing second on the podium. Still going to be right up there in the points as this season goes along. But now let's go to the results of this one as we are ready to get out of here. As I'm looking for the results, and I can find them. Yeah, there they are. As coming home with the victory here today, here at Monza was Lubomir Moritz, finishing 3 seconds ahead of Manuel Domingo after a big battle there going into the Della Roggia chicane. Domingo coming home second and Paul Ulbrich in third, making it a Radicals 2-3 on the podium there at the end of it. Manuel Hoyer coming home in P4, Baha in P5, Alexander Davidson, disappointment for him here today as he has to make do a P6 and finishes just ahead of his teammate Dave Guild in P7. Nathan Brumby, the Australian, coming home in P8, Jeff Bruning in P9, and the Kiwi Aziz Tabizin, been through a lot here tonight, coming home in P10. John Inge Nordness in P11 and John Letro in P12. Those guys driving for Troll Sim Racing, not having the best debut here today, but still going to be happy to have made it to the end at least. Mark Bruning and Danny Hoekstra in P13 and 14. A terrible race, opening race here for Tulip Racing. Hopefully they will be able to get back on top of things next time out at Watkins Glen. And Luke Groom coming home in P15 and rounding out your top order here at Monza. Well, that is going to do it for us here today on ESPN with the eFormula series. Big racing action here at the Temple of Speed and big results happening here as Lubomir Moritz comes home and brings home the race win in the first round of the season. So with that being said, let's look ahead on this. What were we going to say, Frank? Sorry. Were you going to say something? No. I'm hearing things.
No good. We're all good.
No mas. Anyway, well, that being said, let's look ahead on the schedule here for the rest of the week. And as tomorrow we are back with the MPI Cup Series as they head to Richmond for the Sim Speed Shop 200, and then we have the Dirt Esports Championship finishing off their season there tomorrow as well. Monday we are back with the iRacing E Series as we bring you the championship race for them at Phoenix, I believe it is. They are on Monday. Tuesday we have the WSRL Western States Racing League as they continue to look for a champion in this one, and it's very close between those two. And we also have the Trucks Series on Tuesday night, and then Wednesday night we have Sim Racers Edge as they head to Phoenix themselves. Well, that is going to do it for us here on ESPN here at Monza with the eFormula series. All that's left for me to say from myself, Sam Cooper Bennett, and from my broadcast partner Frank Marchese, keep it clean, and we'll catch you in 2 weeks' time when we head to round 2 of the eFormula series live from Watkins Glen. Have a good evening.